was expected to be just because of that draft coming off the cars behind when they were running even 4 wide at times. It was one heck of a race last week, and I think this week is going to be one heck of a race as well.
And that's something you've got to think about. Not being a closed-bodied car, a fendered car. The side draft is not really as much of a factor as it would be in some of these other cars that we've seen. Things like a stock car that we've seen race at Pocono, obviously a very famous NASCAR track. But tonight with these Indy cars, you can run side by side without giving a whole lot of speed. And what that does is it makes that slingshot move, getting the toe and then firing it off in the corner, it makes that all the more viable because you're not going to get slowed down just by being next to somebody. So it's certainly going to be a fantastic race to watch. The setup going to be a little bit of a challenge tonight. Of course, all 3 corners are a little bit different. And so in an open setup setting, you would have to think about which corner you want to maximize. You can't be perfect for all 3. In this situation, Jonathan, you've got an opportunity where it's a fixed setup, and you've simply got to make the most of what you have for each corner.
Yeah, for sure. Setups are definitely super important, especially when you're running side by side. Like Wesley said earlier, 4 wide's definitely easily possible. You just can't do something like that too soon. I mean, it's 100 laps. It's a long, long race, and yeah, we just got to keep racing and making sure that we're being smart.
And that's something that we saw come into play last week in Michigan, and we've seen come into play at all of the ovals thus far in Formula College history, really, as they turn into races of attrition. Last week, only 6 cars finished on the lead lap, and that includes the fact that drivers have a fast repair to use tonight. If you get yourself in a wreck, you damage that car beyond repair, you have the opportunity to come down pit road, completely reset it. Basically, it's like getting a second life. It's a one-up. And you don't want to burn through that too soon because we've seen wrecks happen late. Drivers don't have that fast repair left to use. They find themselves knocked out of the race. So still attrition going to be a very, very big factor. Avoiding wrecks, managing that fast repair, managing all of the things that go on inside the cockpit. It is truly a very challenging thing to do. And we're going to see the best get it done here tonight.
So with qualifying, especially in oval, is super, super important for track position. Yeah, there may be a lot of drafting and which can move you up a couple spots, but in the end, oval racing is all about track position. Especially here, it's not a lot of pack racing. I think we could easily see someone pull away and take take a lead by a good amount. So I think once again, qualifying is super important for track position, and I think whoever's going to be in the front couple rows, I think is going to be in a really good spot.
You bring up a really good point. Last week at Michigan and a couple weeks before that at Vegas, we saw very kind of pack racing, 2 and 3 wide. That draft was really important, really kept everybody together. I think what we're going to see today is going to be a little bit more similar to what we typically see at Indianapolis, where the draft is still very, very important. You need to be behind somebody to make that lap time, but the cars are easy to get strung out. The cars run a little bit farther apart, like you said. And so it makes that track position all important because it's not like you can go from, say, 7th to 3rd in a single corner. You have to do that methodically, and you probably have to do that through some strategy. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at qualifying. Just about 2 minutes left. Drivers trying to set the fastest lap that they can. Wesley, if you could, if we can get a good view of it here, if you could walk us through kind of how a qualifying lap tends to go. And kind of let us know what these drivers are facing while they're trying to make the best single lap time that they can.
Absolutely. If we can kind of get a little bit of better view, there we go. Let's see. Where is this man? We're going to turn 3. And a little. There we go. And we're kind of on the first straight known as the Long Pond Straight, coming into that 9 degrees. You're really looking to sit right on that yellow band right on the bottom. Just as we're kind of Looking at our pole sitter right now, we're going to switch to Mr. R. Muhammad Ali. We're not really sure that's going on. I'm going to hand it back over to you, Mr. Cade, as we're having a little bit of technical difficulty.
Yeah, producing these things behind the scenes is not an easy thing to do, and this is a moment where I would like to thank everybody who goes behind the scenes to make these things possible, the stewards, the race directors, and of course our broadcasters. I just get to sit up here and yap about it with you two boys. Now we've got a view here. Now you can give us Wesley Shaw, take it away, coming out of turn 1, R. Muhammad Ali.
Absolutely. We're kind of sitting again on here on this long pond straight. You see that he's not really getting too close to the wall, just that you don't get too close, get too sucked in. As you start looking towards that yellow bottom here on turn 2, it's called the tunnel curve just because it's modeled after what I was saying earlier, the Annapolis. You're really looking for that bottom end. Turn 3, you're again wanting to get real close, almost against those rumble strips, getting really close. Away again. We're not sure what's going on.
So qualifying has concluded. Sorry about that, y'all, but that means there's just 5 minutes until the field will grid up and take the green flag, and that means that we do have your starting lineup ready for you for the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250 presented by the Longland Corporation Napa. So starting on the pole for today's race, it's the man who's done it plenty of times on a road course, still looking for his first oval win, R. Muhammad Ali for 41.617, and just barely out-qualifying the driver from Marist, making a one-off start tonight, 8 thousandths of a second, Ben Fiore on the outside of row 1. Back in row number 2, Jake Cummings barely out-qualified by Ben Fiore, but the driver from Converse rolls off third next to Dylan Beatty from BSU. Back in row number 3, Lucas Moody, last week's winner, looking to make it 2 in a row. He starts next to Andrew Voigt. Great qualifying effort from the driver from Penn State. Starting in the 7th position, Grant Schiller from St. Clair College. Had a really good run last week at Michigan. Starting alongside the alum from Clemson, that is Adam Willoughby in the 022. And rounding out your top 10, it's Mr. Excitement, Wyatt Burton. He rolls off next to the birthday boy, Nick Stockner from Clemson. Wesley, take it away.
Absolutely. We kind of see in the number 11 spot, number 2, Cale Davidson from Ball State. We have a lot of Ball State drivers heading off. In number 12, we have Mr. Ampfer from Kansas State at that 172 machine. Moving back another row, we have Mr. Sean Campbell from Oklahoma Panhandle State University heading off in that number 78. For Wyatt Burton, I am so sorry. And I'm so sorry. That turns out to be Mr. Brennan Lyman, as we have a little bit more technical difficulties tonight. Heading off in that number 14 with Mr. Alexander Finnerty. And another row back, we're looking at Mr. Nick Henley from Ball State, with number 16 being at Mr. Keegan Callett from St. Clair. Heading in the number 17th spot, we have Logan McKim, again from another St. Clair College Cup machine. Moving into number 18, Mr. Jake Dick from Ball State. And number 19 goes to Mr. Aaron Gosler from Kansas State. And rounding off on our top 20, Mr. Willie Vela, which turns out to be, tonight, a fresh face. Up into Mr. Jonathan.
And in 21st place, we have the 199 of Edwin and Ofrey. And in P22, we have Riley Birkins in the number 33.
And that will round out our field for today. Birkins actually not able to compete, serving a suspension for an incident that happened last week. But 21 cars set to take the green flag here. We got a full field on hand. And this is where I like to hand it off to you guys. I'm going to start with you, Jonathan. You're the new guy up here in the booth, so we'll give you the best opportunity to take a pick and let us know who you think is going to win today's race.
I was actually thinking about this earlier, and I have to go with Lucas Moody from Ball State University. He got his first win of the season last time out, and I think that confidence is just going to stay with him. I think he's actually going to take the win tonight. What about you, Wesley?
And it's hard to make a pick today because this is the first time being here. You know, last week we made a good prediction off of Michigan, we've been there before, but this week I'm going to have to triple down, Mr. Cade. I'm going to have to go back again with Mr. R. Muhammad Ali. He's done it again with number 1. I think he's going to bring it home again.
Wesley Shaw picking the same guy 3 races in a row, came up just 0.004 of a second short last week. I think I'm going to have to take the car on the outside of the front row. Ben Fiore making a one-off start. Unfortunately, wasn't able to run Vegas, so he's coming out here and run today. He was up here in the booth with us last week, so we're hoping to give him some good luck. A driver who has done both, another guy who's done both, is Marlo Duncan, and Marlo has run pretty well as well. So I'm going to take Ben Fiore, the driver from Marist, and as warm-up wraps up here, you can see the St. Clair cars getting just 26 extra seconds of practice, and then they take the grid and take to the green flag. Wesley mentioned something there. The Formula College World Championship has never raced at Pocono, so this is going to be a really new experience for these guys. We've talked about it before. Doesn't race a whole lot like a Michigan or a Vegas. It's very much a different kind of race, and so those are going to be just even more things that these drivers have to think about as they go. Wesley, as you are looking at this race, as we are about to go green here, Wesley, what do you think is going to be the most challenging thing of all of the factors? What is going to be the number one thing weighing on a driver's mind?
To be honest, it'd be turn 3 and just making it last all night. You kind of heard me say it before. Turn 3 is a weird banking. Go from 14 degrees to 9 degrees and being the last turn 6. It's going to be such a weird banking to get used to. You're going to have to really pay attention on that throttle input coming out. And compared to last week in Michigan, it's going to be a whole up-end rooting. Drivers are not expecting what these 3 turns compared to the 4 were. And you're really going to have to think about each throttle input, each turn, each straight, each move, making it last the entire race.
And yeah, going off of that as well, like the start is super important. It definitely can win or break a race. The normal saying, if you can't win in the first corner, definitely applies to here. We just got to make sure that everyone keeps a cool head and realizes that, it's 100 laps, and we got a long race ahead of us.
That is exactly right. You cannot win the race on the first lap, but you can lose it on lap number 1. So something to keep in mind for all these drivers. We do apologize to yes, we do have a little bit of a graphic mix-up there. Sean Campbell and Brennan Lyman are, in fact, not the same person. Although I tell you what, Sean Campbell is a very accomplished iRacer in his own right. He has swept the road course racing stuff. So Brennan, really no shame there getting his name mixed up with Sean Campbell's. But hopefully we will have that fixed all in due time. Lyman, like we said, ran really, really well in practice. He'll be rolling off today in the 13th position. That's the driver from the Oklahoma Panhandle State University, a guy who could be pretty sneaky here. He's led some laps in the past few races in the Cup Series. Wesley, I know you've raced against him, raced against a lot of these guys, honestly, on the Cup side of things. So do you think there's going to be any sort of carryover between experience that you've got in that Cup car? Can you bring that here to an open-wheeled car, or, would you say they're 2 completely different disciplines?
Honestly, they're kind of one of the same, but they're also different. It's kind of weird. It's like a 2-headed dragon here. You have some of the same intricacies where you're driving the car almost the same way as a Cup car into the turn, but coming out of it is all different. Where in the Cup cars, you'd be right on the bumper of another car, almost bump drafting to try and get as much speed as you can to get that draft going. But in these cars, with them being so low to the ground and a lot quicker, the only thing you can get is just that little bit of corner exit and try and get a little bit of clean air.
Well, the safety truck is pulled off. We are racing, and it's a huge jump from Dylan Beatty. Fires it around the outside. We are green in the Backwoods Burnout Bash. I have to believe that Muhammad Alif was on the mic letting Beatty know exactly when to go, and he has done it pretty well, but Jake Cummings is the one who's able to sneak out of turn number 1 with the lead, defends all the way to the double yellow line. Now Muhammad Alif moves high, Lucas Moody looks low, and it's Converse University versus Ball State University on corner exit. We're able to keep it clean through turn number 2, now firing it down into 3. Jake Cummings trying to maintain the lead.
Absolutely. You kind of saw him last week. He barely got lost out on that win by thousandths of a second to Muhammad Alif. And Mr. let's see, what was his name? Lucas Moody with our winner last. Back again for another week. He's really wanting that win on an oval. Maybe he's on that hunt as he's on that outside trying to get a little bit of clean air on Mr. R. Muhammad Alif, but no go. He's just a little bit too far to make anything stick.
Yeah, and so far everyone seems to be have made it through nice and clean. And right now, I think people already have to start thinking of strategy. I know it's only lap 2 into the race, but I definitely think it is possible as we see one of the balls stake. Now we're on Dylan Beatty, who's in P3. He is in line right now with the top 2. He's looking for a move down the inside, but we're already going to go 3 wide into turn number 1. I have no idea what's going to happen here. And they make it through clean. Dylan gets the position, and he's into the lead.
Yeah, Dylan Beatty shooting forward here, now going to pull all the way down to the bottom to try to break that draft. Doesn't want to give the cars behind any advantage. As you can see just how spread out the field gets going into the tunnel turn. Nick Stockner moving up to the 4th position, already +6 from where he started. Something we do want to mention real quick, Logan McKim and Andrew Voigt were given pre-race end-of-line penalties. That's why those 2 names are at the back of the field. And a little bit of a situation on the restart resulted in Brennan Lyman and Willie Vela falling back just a little bit from the pack. But back up front, Stockner in the 5th spot just behind Keegan Kallick. Ben Fiore dropped from 2nd to 6th at the beginning of the race as still jostling for position. Dylan Beatty leads us on the lap 4.
Yeah, and Muhammad Alif is back in the first, and a caution is out.
Huge wreck in the back car upside down. Sorry, Jonathan. Still tumbling is Nick Henley, and it didn't take long for us to send a car airborne. We're looking at Andrew Voigt, the driver from PSU. That looks like Henley gets tagged and turned. I think that was Aaron Gosler that got into him, and that car is absolutely destroyed. Jonathan, I'm so glad these cars have aero screens, even in the virtual world.
Yeah, they may have gotten a lot of hate, but they are definitely a good thing for safety. And honestly, I think they even look cooler with these screens on. But yeah, luckily, they do have one fast repair, if I'm not mistaken. And he should be able to get back into the race. So his night is not done. But yeah, scary crash. But luckily for him, he's still able to keep going.
But the only thing he's really going to have to worry about now is that toe. That toe is going to be one killer thing. He may have that car fixed, but it's going to be a lot of work to get back out on track and stay in the lead lap just to get back in the fight. Kind of head back on R. Muhammad Alif, our leader again. Been fighting since lap 1. He got passed down to P3, but he made that bottom move work. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these low moves coming straight out of the corners. What you, Mr. Cade?
Yeah, something that you mentioned there was the toe. A little bit different than the draft. In iRacing, even though you do have that fast repair, you have to get your car towed back to pit road. Or in the case of Nick Henley, you've got to get what's left of it towed back to pit road. And that'll take anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes, depending on where you're on track. So he may lose a lap here, even though he has that fast repair. The car back on track will be just as competitive as ever, but he may have to get back on the lead lap. Now, he does have plenty of ways to do that. Wave arounds and the free pass are all in effect for tonight. And so if he's the first car 1 lap down when a caution comes out, he will be able to pass the leader, pass the safety truck, and get all the way back around. So we will now see if anybody decides to come into pit road, and R. Muhammad Alif is not going to pit. I'd imagine just about everybody would stay out here.
Yeah, that would have been a very interesting strategy call, to say the least, for pitting on lap 5. But yeah, there is Lucky Dog, so he is able, the driver who got into the incident is able to go around once he is lapped. So once again, his race isn't over. It's only lap 6 now, as we are still behind the safety car. And car 30 and 64, no ruling because of netcode. If you guys don't know what netcode is, just 2 connections not really getting along, and they think that there is a car there when there is not. So in that incident, no one is going to be penalized. It is just netcode. But as we are still here under safety car, Wesley, what do you think of the race so far? I know it's been super early on, and I was just wondering what you're thinking so far.
Yeah, this race, it's been short so far. We're still only 6 laps in. We've only had 4 or 5 laps green. Really, it's too early to tell. I'm still kind of sticking with my pick of Muhammad Alif. He may have got beat out last week by thousandth of a second, but this week I know he is out for revenge. He wants that gold. He wants that cup. And he wants to bring home that gold medal tonight. He wants to be able to say, I was first at the first race at Pocono. I don't want to be second. I don't want to be third. I don't want to be top 5. I want to be top 1 tonight. I want to be able to bring the home and do some donuts in the parking lot.
And speaking of R. Muhammad Alif, I did have the pleasure to race against him in the sports car challenge, and may I say he is a very good driver, very clean, very respectful, very consistent. So I am not surprised to see him up in the front. But I'm still going to cheer on Lucas Moody. I think he's going to do it again. But obviously, it's still super early on in the race. As we are still behind the safety car, we should be getting ready to go green here in a little bit, and we're going to start seeing some weaving here down the straight to get these tires up to temp. Wesley, you are a Cup driver. What are your total opinions on Pocono compared to maybe, let's say, last weekend at Michigan?
Honestly, this week, I love Pocono. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm always driving it in my own little time just to get a little bit more time out of it in the Cup cars. But compared to the Indy cars, these cars handle very much different. The NASCARs really just have to float through the corners and just hope to God that you can get enough speed on the straights to make it to the next one without killing the amount of time you have that car behind. But in these Indy cars, it's vastly different. These cars make up speed like no other. I've raced all kinds of cars. I've raced real life. But these Indy cars are no joke, man. The amount of draft that these cars can pick up from how far away is staggering. You saw just how much tow they were getting from Mr. Nick Stockner, who's a number 5. You saw how much tow he was picking up from behind. He went up 5 spots, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah, he has jumped up, started the race in the 10th position. Right now under yellow, he is running in P5. So he is, yep, +5 from the beginning of the race. He's going to see if he can have another great restart here again. Lagging back quite a bit to Keegan Kallick. The stewards want everybody to stay within 2 car lengths of the car in front of him, but you want to be basically on the top end of that so you can get enough of a run as you can. You want to anticipate that. We'll see if Nick can do it here. Racing again. Looks like the top 4 got a great jump, and now Nick going to move down, likely to block, but getting a look up front. They are side by side for the lead. Dylan Beatty to the inside, now dropping off. He's going to tuck in line behind R. Muhammad Alif, as Keegan Kallick had a little bit of a look to the inside of Jake Cummings, but for the moment they're going to stay single file into the tunnel turn, as now Beatty gets another opportunity to go side by side. He's going to get Cummings behind him, and they're 3 wide for the lead. Cummings is going to take it on the inside into turn 2.
Yeah, what an overtake.
He got beat out. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, what an overtake by Jake Cummings for absolutely sending it into turn number 2, if I remember correctly. But you know, we talked about how it may not be and there's another yellow out on track. We are back under caution.
Moody. Sorry, Jonathan. The 13 car had a huge hit there in turn number 3. That's him on the inside, and the frame rate has dropped stupendously on my end, so I cannot tell you what is happening, but it looks like he gets a really, really big run on the white car there and gets tagged by one of the St. Clair cars and sent up and into the wall. He was running just behind Cale Davidson, so I believe that is Grant Schiller in the 5, who got into Moody just a little bit and brought out our second yellow of the day. We'll have to see if once again this is a netcode issue, a common theme with the IR18 cars. So we're going to ride along with Schiller from St. Clair, see what he sees. Moody dives to the inside of Davidson and definitely got really, really deep into 3. Don't know if there was actually contact or if it was another case of netcode, Wesley, but this is unfortunately a byproduct of a very fast and very agile car with kind of a weird hitbox at a track like Pocono.
Absolutely. You kind of heard me talking about it earlier. These cars are going to be really touchy out of the corners and being really sensitive. You have to really pay attention to that throttle input. And cars do have such a weird hitbox. I know they kind of got updated a while back, but even if you were about within a thousandth of a car ahead of you, it's going to register you right on them. So if you just have that slightest little pinky amount of time between that car right ahead, iRacing is going to try and say, nope, you're right ahead, you're making contact, and winning.
Yeah, as we are under caution, there were some people that have dove into the pits. That could be a pretty good strategy call. I mean, they're going to get Nick is in, Wyatt's in, and there seems to be one other person who's going towards the front.
That's Ben Fiore there. A few more in. Looks like that could be Andrew Voigt. So we'll see. This is going to cycle them all the way to the back of the field, but going to give them a little bit of a fuel. 10 laps into the race means that they are going to be able to go quite a ways here. I think this is outside the window for a one stop, but we will see if this plays out for them in the long run. This is certainly playing the long game here. So we're going to keep an eye. Wybert and Nick Stockner leading that strategy. So we'll just have to see where they cycle out here after about 50 laps.
Yeah, so we
go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, so like you said earlier, Cade, they could definitely go a lot longer, and what I've learned is that it kind of gives me the same idea strategy wise as when, let's say, you race GT3. You want to go as long as you can on this fuel stint. The overcut in IndyCar, same thing as GT3, is absolutely insane. You gain so much time, and honestly, I think it was a very good call to pit in, because now they could go even longer. Wesley, what do you think about that strategy so far?
Absolutely. I was kind of listening to you talking earlier about that tire wear, how it's not going to be too much of a difference, but coming out of turn 3 is where you're going to get the most tire wear. Back again, I have to go back in with that throttle input. If you kind of dip in a little bit too much throttle, you're going to be spinning those tires coming out of 3, up too much tire, and then you're not going to have any for the end of that stint for the 34 to 36 laps of the fuel. So really, you want to conserve as much as you can. And anytime I race in the Cup Series, early on in this race, I'm thinking about making it to my pit window and saving as much fuel and as much tire as I can. I don't want to push until later into the race when I know that I can undercut or I can overcut the next car ahead and maybe get that much further in position.
We're going to be lining up here. I believe the lights on the safety truck are off. So we'll restart with 89 laps to go, and you can see there Grant Schiller dropping to the back. An end-of-line penalty assessed to the number 5 for what was deemed to be avoidable contact. So there you see it. Even though no damage to the St. Clair machine, he will have to restart this race all the way at the rear of the field, which we still do have 18 cars on the lead lap. So that will send him back quite a ways. Back there with all of the drivers who pitted. Jake Cummings had the lead when the yellow came out, so he will be the control car here. But I got to imagine that either R. Muhammad Ali or Dylan Beatty are going to be the ones sitting in the catbird seat here. As long as they continue to get that draft on the restarts, then they will definitely have an advantage as they are going down the straightaways. So the pace truck getting ready to peel off. Jake Cummings going to line up on the outside of turn 3 and will be the first car to the restart zone. We're going to take a look at, I believe that is Keegan Calick in the 4th spot. He'll have an opportunity to pounce here as we are back racing on lap number 12. Standing out in the back there was a little bit of contact, car in the wall, but we stay green as R. Muhammad Alif moves to the outside to try to get around Cummings. Here comes Beatty trying to go all the way to the bottom. Now he's going to clear Alif and be able to move high. They're going to be side by side once again into turn 2. Adam Willoughby is clear for the 4th spot. still side by side for the lead. Cummings now back to the inside of Beatty, going to try to get a run. Here comes Willoughby looking for third. He's going to tuck it right down against those rumble strips, and it looks like Cummings is just barely going to be clear for the lead.
Yeah, Jake Cummins really wants to hold this lead right now as he is still fighting with Beatty. And here we go, down to the inside goes Muhammad Alif as he now takes the lead of the race. Jake Cummins is now back into second, but it looks like he's eager to get back into the lead as he switches over to the outside. And it looks like we're going to go 3 wide again. But it looks like we back off and Jake Cummins retakes the lead around the outside. What do you think of this battle so far, Wesley?
And as we kind of cut back here for a battle for third, they're going 2 wide, and oh nope, they are still 2 wide as he kind of backs out and gives that position back to him. This time, this entire top 5 pack is just fighting for every little lead. But as you kind of see, Muhammad Alif and Jake Cummings have been fighting all season, but Dylan Beatty is inserting himself, saying, no, I am here, I am wanting this win, I am here for this race. As we kind of see Muhammad Alif and Dylan Beatty start peeling a little bit away. I'm sorry, that is Jake Cummings. That is my fault. I am so sorry. But it kind of see that Muhammad Alif is losing a little bit of time. Maybe he kind of made a bad corner exit. And Jake Cummings is still looking to that outside, but Dylan Beatty is holding down bottom to make sure that every little possible chance of downforce is on him and not on Jake Cummings.
Another car moving into this battle is that number 22 of Jake Dick. Had a look at the third spot, got to the outside of Alif there, was able to get around Adam Willoughby, not quite clear the 022. He's going to climb the banking, but still out front. It is Dylan Beatty really trying to just run some laps right now. Let them tick away. He wants to be out front. He wants to get through this run with the track position. Doesn't want to fall back into the pack, so he's probably going to defend pretty hard for this lead. Really sketchy coming off of the corner there. Still, Beatty defends the bottom, and it looks like he's going to maintain first all the way through turn number 3.
Yeah, and I think it was the Clemson driver of Adam Willoughby, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, Cale Davidson. He was blinking a little bit. But yeah, it looks like it is a 9-car battle for the lead, as there is starting to be a little bit of a separation between the first pack and the second pack. Not that it's a lot, but there is definitely a separation that's starting to be built. But these guys are still going at it, and it's only lap 16.
Oh, into the wall a little bit was Calic. Got on the outside and had some issues there with Jake Dick. Tagged the wall. We'll see if there's any maintaining, any damage that stays on that 29 car. Doesn't look like it as he throws it to the inside of Jake Dick. Now he's going to have a little bit of a run for the lead. Actually tucks back up behind the 22 as Adam Willoughby continues to get shuffled out here. He was up solidly inside the top 5 just a little bit ago. Now back to the 7th position, giving up a spot to Cale Davidson. Jacob Dick, though, still in the fight. He is on the outside, 3 wide for the lead. And it looks like he's not going to be able to get it on the exit of the tunnel turn, but he's going to have a really good run into turn 3. Look at Beatty, though, still holding fast. Beatty is going to be able to be clear of Dick. Looks like the 22 is going to try to cross Jake Cummings over. Gets a really good run. Going to try to draft off of Dylan Beatty. 3 wide at the line. And in the middle of that sandwich is Jake Dick.
Yeah, we're looking like we're having a really good battle here. Muhammad Alif has fallen down into the 5th position, but he could also start to save fuel. Watching him enter some of these corners, he looks like he's backing off a little bit. I think now, I know I'm repeating myself again, but I know it's super early, but the strategy is going to be so important, because at the beginning we talked about how track position was crucial, and I think Alif is definitely trying to do to get that track position later on in the race.
As you kind of see Cale Davidson wanting to go 4 wide, but kind of backs out of it, leaving Dylan Beatty, Jake Cummings, number 22 car, just to keep in that 2 row. We're kind of settling in here to try for some laps, but no, it takes it 3 wide again. They're just fighting for every last little inch on this track, and Cale Davidson has a front row seat for it all as he kind of backs away. You see that St. Clair car jump in front of him, take that middle line in as Cale Davidson's sitting on the outside. You see Muhammad Alif on his inside trying to think maybe he's wanting a little bit of position back. But these cars are sitting so down low, you have to think, is it smarter to stay down low or is it smarter to stay up high? Either way, we have Jake Dick, who is now in the lead as he hands it back off to Dylan Beatty, getting that undercut from the bottom. There's just no move like down below.
And both of those guys on the same team, probably going to be working together just a little bit here to maintain that track position. Wesley, that was something really crucial that you talk about. It's a trade-off between track position now or track position later. If you save fuel now, you can run longer and you can try to pit later than somebody, which, as we've said, is the preferred strategy. But if you save too much fuel now, you get yourself deep in that pack, you're not going to have any track position even with the fuel savings. So certainly a lot to go on here. You got to find a way to split the balance. Something that I do want to mention, the debutant driver from Kansas State, Willie Vela, had a penalty for a restart infringement and unfortunately damaged his car beyond repair. I believe he is out of the race, as is Nick Henley after some incidents that happened at the beginning. As backup at the front, Keegan Kallick has managed to burst his way through. He's gotten the third spot and now challenging for second on Jake Dick.
Yeah, and Jake Dick and Beatty have been going side by side a lot here, and we cannot forget about the guy in P3, Keegan Kallick, and he looks like he's also waiting to make a move, but so does everyone else in the back as we see Cale Davidson and Jake Cummins going 3 wide, and once again, Jake Cummins being pretty aggressive to say the least. He really likes being in the lead as he's trying to get his way back to the front.
Yeah, Jake Cummings is one of the guys who's really trying to get that track position. That's going to be his preferred trade-off. Josh Kampfer there, the driver, the 172, getting aggressive on the outside, had a moment. He's going to look 3 wide middle of Davidson and Cummings. Those cars nearly come together, but able to keep them apart as they are now 3 wide for the lead. That's Dick in the middle with Kallick on the outside, and Dylan Beatty still able to hold on to it for the moment. But Jacob Dick going to get a really good run off the outside. Here comes Cale Davidson as well. This little group of 7 not getting separated, but I believe we're seeing the bottom lane become the preferred groove as these tires get a little bit of heat in them, as the run kind of stretches out. Beatty has been able to maintain this lead, at least in a general sense, despite every run that has come his way. Now, Jonathan, something I want to point out here, Nick Stockton, Wyatt Burton, 2 of the drivers we saw on pit road under the last yellow, they have worked their way up to 8th and 9th. So how do you think that strategy is going to play out?
I mean, if they pitted the last under the last caution and they have made their way up, I think they are in a very, very solid position. Especially now, they could even save a little bit more fuel to go even longer, especially with the pack that they are in. And honestly, it's very impressive to see. And if you look even further back, there's kind of starting a single file line. I think people are starting to realize, like, all right, I think we need to focus on the longevity of the race, not so much the current state of the race right now.
Absolutely, but Dylan Beatty's still sitting on that bottom line just to get every little bit of edge you can to stay in that first position. But Jake Dick not letting up. He is constantly at his wheel, constantly at his side, telling him, I'm one to be right beside you. I'm going to fight you all the way to the line. And if it comes down to the checkered finish, I'm going to be right there to try and get my nose slightly ahead of yours. It might come down to another tight finish tonight, folks, as it was last week. We'll just have to wait to see as we are just fighting between these top 7 cars. We've kind of settled down into 2 wide away from our 3 wide, being very exciting. I see a car in the back start fading off very quickly. I wonder who that is.
If we Nick can take Stockner, a look back there. Sorry. The 124 got into the wall on corner exit. I believe he's missing a front wing, and that's not going to be day over, but it's going to be Big problems on this car. We're seeing that is Aaron Gosler making a move to the inside. The KSU machine looks like drifts up the track, maybe some net code. Stockner really lucky, honestly, to escape with very minimal amount of damage. He'll be able to pit, maybe take a fast repair, maybe he'll get that repaired the old-fashioned way. So we ride along with Gosler. The car definitely washes up the track. I don't know if there was actually contact, but I think if there wasn't, there was going to be anyways. That 30 car was headed up the track in a hurry, Wesley.
Absolutely, but to give it to Nick Stockner, he is one heck of a driver. We've been racing him all season, and Cup Series, you see him in the sports car, you see him in the Formula College. He is one name to be out there. He's definitely a driver to watch, and he is one heck of a wheelman. I've raced him myself, tried to go wheel to him, and he's definitely given me a run for my money, but I have to give it to him. He is really strong behind that wheel, and he knows where to put that car, and it just happened to be right on the wheel of that car right ahead.
Yeah, some excellent driving from everybody. I do want to make a couple shout-outs real quick. Edwin Ofre, who started in 21st position, is up to 12th. And Aaron Gosler is up 10 positions from 19th to the top 10. These guys are some people I would definitely keep an eye out if they've been making their way up, as we are still in fights, and we have Jay Cummings on the outside.
So we see that 124 car right there just in front of the leaders. He is still technically on the lead lap. Now he is technically giving draft to those guys behind him, but you're going to see some great defense out of this 124. He was able to get on pit road, likely take a fast repair, and then get off as fast as he could. And if he's going to fight for this lead, now the lucky dog is awarded, but if the caution comes out and he's still in front of the leaders, he's scored as a lead lap car, he can pit with them, he doesn't have to worry about using that lap back. He can be in an advantage, and I just don't think it's going to work for him. He's now bottom of 3 against 3 cars, and Cale Davidson into Dylan Beatty. Dylan Beatty turns into a tornado. Camper's involved, and the caution is out on lap 30. Stockner's going to get the free pass for his troubles, but not before a massive wreck unfolds behind him, and it takes out several contenders.
You kind of saw Dylan Beatty, who was leading this race, getting his elbows out, getting down and dirty, fighting for every last little place. And that is going to leave him back in the pit lane, ending this run that he had. Man, that is a tough race right there. One tough corner completely up in the race. As we kind of cut to Mr. Dillon, the inside, a 3 wide, and just gets into him.
Taking
Can I get another
look
view
at
of
it
here?
Yeah, I think the 2 car on the outside, right here, this is all the way coming out of turn 3. I mean, Dylan Beatty just got a huge run. There was no way that he was going to be able to tuck in behind the 2 car. He's got Ar Muhammad Alif right behind him, right on that gearbox. So the 20 sort of has to turn into the corner, and I think he washes up a little bit. I think Davidson washes down. And my gosh, oh, and what an impact, too, for Aaron Gosler. Oh, my gosh, and it bounces and destroys the 30 car. As we're now taking a look at Brendan Lyman. Lyman able to sneak through that one, but just barely. Had a good long look at the underbody of the 30 car. Josh Kampfer, another guy who was involved. That really killed Kansas State's race, man. They showed up here with 3 drivers, 2 of them involved in that one. Do want to give a correction on Willie Vela. Still in the race, but 4 laps down. So if other drivers wreck out, he will gain those positions. And Kampfer came really close to escaping it, but just was not able to. Pretty good wreck avoidance there in the back, but unfortunately heavy damage for 4 cars.
We have to go back and just say, I am very glad that this is a virtual race, because that would not have been a very fun trip to the hospital.
Yeah, that wreck was a big one. I wonder if they were catching up on Nick Stockner. I wonder, since they were 3 wide into the corner, if there was a bit of confusion, let's just say, as we see a lot of people diving into the pits to make their first pit stops. A lot of the people, like the leaders as before, are coming in. But like I was saying before, I wonder if with the lap traffic, it brought something up, and that's what caused the wreck.
We'll never know. It just kind of looked like maybe a little bit of something to come into the way, just kind of wash up between the two. But as we kind of see, lap 31 is the start of our window. We were kind of saying that these cars make about a 34 to 36 lap run on fuel. So this was kind of perfect an opportunity for Jake Dick, R. Muhammad Alif, and Wyatt Burton are effective leaders at the moment, with Jake Cummings rounding out in top 4 and Keegan Calick sitting at 5th. You have to think, man, this was a perfect timing for us, but not perfect timing for Beatty.
Something else to keep in mind here, we're on lap 32, so that's give or take 68 laps to go when we take the green flag. Makes it a pretty easy one stop from here. You know, you'd think you could go about 70 laps with a single pit stop. This is going to be, you know, somewhere in the realm of that 34, maybe 35 laps, but that means fuel saving has now gone out the window. Everybody is running the same playbook. You kind of don't have a whole lot of options. Really, it just means here's what you got to do. You got to run, you got to pit, and then you're going to have another run to the end. So it's really just going to be an execution of how well you can do that. Maybe when you pit specifically is going to play a little bit of a factor in that. But right now, everybody's kind of been equalized. The playing field is level now. And we're going to see Jacob Dick in second, third car in line. I think that means somebody is going to get the wave around here. A couple of cars. So Jacob Dick going to restart right behind the leader. He'll have a good look at it. And he shouldn't really have to save any fuel now. You can kind of push. I think that's going to make this run even more exciting. Jonathan and me, this is your first race. I think we've already seen some pretty good action here, but I think we're about to turn the intensity up even more.
Yeah, no, this isn't. Honestly, I thought there'd be a lot more carnage going on, but everyone's been racing really clean. We've had a lot of green flag running, and this has been super fun to watch. A lot of clean driving besides the little incidents here and there, but that's just racing. No race is going to end up being perfect, but yeah, overall it's super cool. And we have a lot of drivers who were in the back of the pack and now are in contention for a win here. So overall, this has just been super fun to commentate on, and so far the race has been absolutely amazing.
And just so you guys know, Cale Davidson was given an EOL for that last wreck. So the 2-car was deemed to have come down and caused the incident. So that is an EOL for Davidson, in addition to the fact that he had heavy damage to that car and had to get a tow. So we're now going to see R. Muhammad Alif there in the black car. Jacob Dick, the black with the blue highlights, red highlights for R. Muhammad Alif. Wyatt Burton will be rolling off in the 3rd position. Jake Cummings, Keegan Calick, the top 5. Adam Willoughby, Ben Fiore, Edwin Onofre up to the 8th spot. Logan McKim is in 9th. And Brandon Lyman is back there in the 10th spot. So some of the paint schemes do look a little bit different now. We apologize for that. We've gotten them all updated. But we've got 67 laps to figure it out. As R. Muhammad Alif is going to lead the field to green on lap 34 here. Gets a great jump on Jake Dick, and he will send it off into turn number 1.
And yeah, so far everyone is keeping a nice clean nose. Not too much battling. Everything is pretty spread out as we see a battle between Jacob Dick and Wyatt Burton brewing up. And here comes Jake Cummins once again. He really wants his lead. He's been trying to be in the lead for a long time now. And as soon as I said everyone was nice and clean and being a straight line, they decided to turn the tables on that as we are seeing a great battle starting to form up again.
Absolutely. You kind of saw Jake Cummings earlier in this race fighting for that lead. Had Dalen Beatty back into the first as he started fighting for him for a few laps. As we see Jake Dick back in the lead and take that lead away from Muhammad Ali, with Wyatt Burton and Keegan Kallick fighting for it, but Jake Cummings is sitting down low, trying to get back into it. He's out of the way for him now. He is kind of sinking on back down to 6th place as we kind of see Wyatt Burton come back into first, taking that down low away from Jake Dick. With Muhammad Ali slowly falling back in that third, we'll see him kind of come back into this braking zone, come back into our 2 wide for 2 rows, back into 1 wide past that. Wyatt Burton has taken the lead.
Yeah, Wyatt Burton got it in exciting fashion, just like we would expect, but Jake Dick not going to let him go easily. Moves back on the outside, not going to be clear into turn 1. Going to try to get some momentum down the 2nd straightaway here, that short chute into the tunnel turn. But Burton is clear now. Dick back to the top in front of his teammate. Then you've got Kallick in 4th. Cummings and Fiore right together there in the 5th and the 6th spot. I know those 2 drivers probably working together a little bit here. Adam Willoughby still in the picture. A lot of contenders and also a lot of racing still to go. Muhammad Ali moves to the bottom on teammate Jake Dick. Doesn't look like he's going to get clear on corner exit as the draft goes to the 22 car, just a couple of car lengths behind. Wyatt Burton now down into turn 1 again. Dick to the top side, going to try to get that momentum. But Wyatt Burton from the alternate strategy all the way to the lead. And I was able to talk to him a little bit pre-race. He said that his season in terms of points is already a little bit shot. So he is just going to go for it today. Those were his words. So full send from the 26 car. And coming up on halfway in the race, that mindset has gotten him the lead.
And yeah, that refers to the strategy that we were talking about, that long overcut. And look where he ended up. He's back in the lead. He's back to the lead as we are seeing a battle starting to unfold again as we are going 3 wide. And Wyatt Burton falls back to 3rd place as we see our Muhammad Ali back into the lead. He's been going backwards, but now he is going forwards as he is finally taking back that lead.
You kind of saw that slingshot coming out of turn 1. You know this is a tricky triangle as we see Keegan Kallick making another move down low to try and take that first position. But our Muhammad Ali holding that top side out of turn 3. Third, we heard this is a tricky triangle. We have 14 degrees of banking at turn 1, which makes that turn 1 really wanting to sit on the bottom. Turn 2 is going to be another same thing. It's 9 degrees. I see our Muhammad Ali get passed by Jake Dick on that low side coming out of turn 2 on that low side, but turn 3 is right where he's going to get back of it, flying off of the North Straight into the Big Bend with 6 degrees of banking. That high line's going to be a lot more beneficial on the tires. It's going to be easier, but it is a little bit more distance. You're going to use a little bit more fuel as you're pushing on that outside, but our Muhammad Ali and Jake Dick fighting for first. Keegan Kallick and Wyatt Burton not too far behind, but don't count them out just yet.
There was a car that got into the wall just a little bit on the front stretch, coming on the straightaway a couple laps ago. Logan McKim has heavy contact to the right side of that car, still hanging on to the lead lap for now, but limping around trying to hope for a yellow to get that machine fixed. Everybody else able to avoid it. Moves Brennan Lyman up into the top 10 with Andrew Voigt just behind him. Back up front to the inside, Jake Dick once again wants it from teammate Muhammad Ali. Wyatt Burton now slipping back to the 5th spot, trying to stop the bleeding a little bit, as he has Ben Fiore all up in his gearbox. Alif going to look to the top now. Here's looking back at Adam Willoughby. Willoughby to the inside of Grant Schiller, now in that white number 5 car. Schiller had a great run on Fiore. Now he's clear to the bottom. Schiller to the inside of the 555, and going to tuck back up in line to get some draft down into turn 1. Is up front for a moment. They were nearly 3 wide for the lead, but Kallick backs out, and they're going to be single file in the turn 2. Well, not quite.
Yeah, and as these guys are going at it, they have to mess with something called a weight jacker to help them, because even though they are in a straight line and they're making these things look like they turn, the dirty air that comes up from these cars is massive. So they have to play with this thing called a weight jacker to help the car rotate a bit better through the corners so they can continue to push even though they're in dirty air. As we see trying to go for an overtake for our Muhammad Ali as he goes back into the lead as Calic is trying to maybe size up a move here for P2. And there is a little bit of a gap starting to form between the top three, and there's an incident in the back.
Heavy to the inside wall, and I believe, not entirely sure who that was right now, looking at one of the BSU cars that happened well towards the rear of the field. Looking at Cale Davidson. I think it was a darker colored car. Oh, there it is, the checkup just behind them. I see Aaron Gosler involved, and one car heavy into the outside. I believe that was Alex Finity was one of the cars involved. The 321 from UNC Charlotte. Yes, it was. And Wesley, that is some major contact.
Absolutely. As we kind of get a little look here coming out of turn one, and it's just washed up and a little bit of contact on that driver's side rear. And that's all it took coming out of turn one to upset that car enough to spin him to the sides. We get a on-board look here. Just washes up straight into him. A little bit of net coat it looks like, and that just was enough to deal that car in and send him back home to the pit lane.
There was a really big checkup for some reason from Aaron Gosler. Not sure if that was reactionary to something that happened in front of him, or if he just had to bail out of the gas on corner exit, but whatever reason, Finity got a massive run on that number 30 car, and it just resulted in a huge wreck. Luckily, a single car wreck, but a big hit for the 30 nonetheless, or excuse me, the 321. Finity, I believe, not involved in any other wreck yet today. He's kind of been riding around in the back, so he should still have a fast repair, and he's going to hope to get through the last half of this race without further incident. I believe as well that this is Finity's first race of the season. Certainly wanted it to go a little bit better, but still plenty of opportunities from the alumni from UNC Charlotte. So we're looking at Muhammad Ali. Had the lead when the yellow came out, and it doesn't look like he's going to pit, but here comes a couple of guys, Cummings, Burton among others, into the pits.
Yeah, as we see a couple people going into the pits, and honestly, a lot of them that may have been in that mid pack or lower pack may be coming in for a fresher set of tires to give them an advantage for this next restart. As we are on board with Cummins going into the pits, and we talked earlier, fuel saving really isn't too much of a thing at this point of the race. They could easily go to the end, but that fresh tire advantage, as you may know, Wesley, as being a Cup driver, fresh tires is super important on ovals.
Absolutely. It may not matter when it's 5 laps, but when you're 10 laps in, those tires may make a difference towards the tail end of this stint. Between 60 and 70 laps, you're going to be able to make a little bit more out of those tires and a little bit more out of that fuel just to get that little edge. And again, you were talking about those weight jackers. That weight jacker is going to play a huge role with fresher tires. It's more beneficial to come out of the corner. Let's just hope that we don't see any misinputs on that throttle that leads you to spin the car around.
And
Yeah,
and we have Jacob Dick started 18th at the start of the race. He's up into P2. What a drive, same with the Keegan Calic, very far back on the grid, and Edwin and Ofrey as well, up into 7th. Great drives from these guys, especially from starting back on the grid. They've been keeping their nose clean, playing the strategy correct, and now we're once again fighting for a win here. I think all of them are really close on pace, and I think it's just going to keep getting exciting for this top 10.
We have to give it out to Edwin and Ofrey, my fellow Texas local. Mr. Alumni, being number 199, coming up from 21st to 7th. He's now inside that top 10. He's going to be looking at a major jump in points. Let's see where he finished last race at Michigan. Finished number 10. Finished 10th position last week. He's up 3 from last week. So maybe he's looking to get a little bit higher, maybe coming in for a win. You never know here at these ovals. One turn can be all the difference that it takes.
While we do have a moment, we do want to give a shout out to today's sponsor for the race, Longland Corporation Napa, bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage from the virtual Pocono Raceway. This is the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250, and we do want to give a shout out to the University of Northwestern Ohio. They've recently become a partner for the league, and they are sponsoring our replays, as well as the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge, which has its next race on Wednesday, October the 15th, I believe, and that'll be at Road Atlanta. So big shout outs to them. We get a lot of support from those two groups. And if you or somebody that you know would like to get your name on a series, race, or even the replays for the Collegiate iRacing League, all of the links to our socials are in the description of the YouTube video, and you too can have your name on the CIL. Now, we have had quite a few interesting race names. Of course, the Backwoods Burnout Bash, one of the more creative names that we've had in a while, but if you think you can do better, then we have people to get you in contact with, and you can sponsor a CIL race. It's going to be just about 55 laps to go as they come out of turn 3. Muhammad Alif, Jake Dick, both from BSU. They're going to lead us to the green, and once again, we are racing here in Pocono. So we're looking at Jake Dick here going through the turn in slow motion. But back to the back, this is Alex Finity, who was given an EOL for the previous incident, so he is still trying to work his way out of the hole. A driver from UNC hanging on in the 18th position. Back up front, Jake Dick has gone to the lead. Muhammad Alif going to draft with him and get really close. I've been told that you can't bump draft the IndyCar, but it looked really close between the 22 and the 12. Don't know if you could have put a credit card between those two machines. Keegan Kallick, though, clear off of turn number 1 as Alif whips it back to the bottom. They're going to be side by side for the second spot in the tunnel turn, going over those bumps. And here comes Ben Fiore after starting on the outside pole. Hasn't done a whole lot all race, but he's played a little bit of strategy, played some of his cards right. Now sitting in the 4th spot, just behind him, Grant Schiller. And then Edwin Onofre, another guy who's been a little interesting on the strategy book today. Still Jake Dick leading. And if we could look at Ben Fiore for a second, special paint scheme on that 555 car. He was planning to run at Las Vegas earlier this year. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, was not able to. But running that paint scheme, that is a 9/11 tribute paint scheme, remembering everybody who fell in the tragedy that happened in New York on September 11th, 2001. So 24 years later, we will never forget, and Ben Fiore racing for them. And he's doing it well, currently sitting in the 5th spot.
And yeah, what a great tribute. And we are still racing here. We are seeing some weaving now down the straightaway. I don't know if we've seen it a little bit before, but different lines are really now starting to be shown here. The middle outside line can really carry the momentum, but the shortest way around the track is the inside, and that's what really gets a good lead, as we still have Keegan Kallick and Jake Dick fighting it out. But once again, our Muhammad Alif is just waiting. He's buying his time. He is playing chess every time he is behind the wheel.
As you kind of see Keegan Kallick back into the lead, kind of fighting there with Jake Dick as he shoots down low going into turn 1. Keegan Kallick up high, and Muhammad Ali is going 3 wide to turn 1. Nope, Jake Dick sticks it out. Muhammad Ali kind of backs down, leaving Keegan Kallick up high to defend for himself. And Jake Dick kind of trying to run away with it, but Muhammad Ali reeling him in, spinning down low as we head into
Yeah, Jake Dick has the lead. Now going to get a little bit single file behind him. As there goes, here's the move. We're now taking a look at, this is Brennan Lyman, who is running in the 14th position. He is not Sean Campbell. anymore. He has gotten his identity back following the lap car of Alex Finity. A little bit maybe of a conservative play here. Maybe something happened on the restart. Not entirely sure, but the 78 losing touch just a little bit with the lead pack. As long as the laps are, he is in absolutely no danger of going a lap down here. So for the entire Lyman cheering section, I know there are plenty of you out there that are fans of the 78 from OPSU. He is in this race. He's going to get a chance to contend for it, and he does have his name on the timing tower. Back up front, Muhammad Alif shoots it to the inside of Keegan Calick. It's the black cars versus the white cars. BSU versus St. Clair with Adam Willoughby in the 5th position. Right here, you got a little bit of an opportunity for a couple of different shakes and bakes. Keegan Calick looking to the outside. He's going to get his teammate Schiller to go with him. Alif going to move between those two cars. Going to cut the runoff just a little bit. That gives the advantage to his teammate Dick, who looks like he's going to be clear off of turn number 1.
As once again, we are still single file, and once again, anyone has a really good opportunity to win this race for how close it is. I'm not like an expert on ovals. I don't race a lot of ovals, but by the looks of it, anyone can have this race. But someone who is very experienced in ovals, Wesley, what would your thought process be if you're in this situation right now?
My thought process would be to tuck in, get some laps in, and maybe think about trying to get all this fuel out, get the car as light as possible, make it to the end of the stint, pit one last time for some fresh fuel, fresh tires, take one last little run towards that finish line. But running this too wide does seem to be very beneficial, as we're kind of just sticking on it, as we see that Jake Dick kind of pulls way into that first spot, leaving Keegan Calick in second. But not for long, as he shoots down the inside, making Muhammad Alif sit up high on that 3rd spot. Alec has the lead for now.
Something that you mentioned there was a big group of cars that last pitted on lap 34 as Muhammad Alif goes 3 wide for the lead, and he's going to get that car to the yellow line. He's going to make it stick and take the 1st spot. But pitting on lap 34 means that we're going to see some cars on pit road here sometime in the next maybe 10 to 15 laps. Big run there from Jake Dick. He's going to go back to the front, I think, in turn 2. Alif kind of gives it to him, opens up the door a moment for Calick, but now you have that little bit of cat and mouse game starting to get set up here. You want to make sure you're on the inside, or at least you're going to here in about 10 laps. You're going to want to make sure that you're able to cleanly get to pit road. Right now, the race is on. All right, right now you're going to get all the track position you can get because you're filling the tank no matter what. But pretty soon here, that's going to be something that's in the back of these drivers' minds. They are calculating, they are doing the math, and unfortunately, you don't have a whole race team behind you in most cases. Even the big schools that have a lot of guys, or some of these organizations that have multiple drivers, it's still not like they have a crew chief sitting there that can do all this math for them. There is always something that is going on behind the wheel. You've got to be doing math. You've got to be working the numbers. And that's going to be something that's going to start to kick up here. It's just another aspect of sim racing, and something that makes it even more of a mental game, as Willoughby slid up the track there a little bit, nearly caught Keegan Calick, bailed out of the throttle, and had a move for 3rd, not able to make it stick. He's going to have to regroup and try again another lap.
Making moves. Muhammad Alif has taken again back into that lead, leaving Jake Dick in 2nd and keeping Calick in 3rd. Calick has not ruled out anything yet, and neither has Jake Dick, as Jake Dick moves towards the inside, leaving Muhammad Alif up high, and Keegan Calick takes a move down low, making Muhammad Alif get just washed up and stay loose, losing him all that work he just put in to get that lead, with Adam Willoughby picking up his rear bumper as they kind of get a little bit of separation there. But for now, there's Jake Dick back in the lead, but not for long, as Keegan Calick shoots down low.
Yeah, now we're actually going 3 wide. Muhammad Alif is going down the inside and makes the move stick, as they're still trying to fight it. But once again, this draft is super, super big here, and once again, they're just closing with the slipstream as they all try diving to the inside. And they're still going 3 wide, very close to the inside, as Jacob Dick takes the lead. And I know Jacob Dick really wants this win. He has not had a win this season, and I know he wants to get that first one of the season, while Muhammad Alif is chasing another victory this season. So we know that Jacob Dick really wants this win, and once again, here we go. We are going to be I thought we were going to go 3 wide for a moment, but Muhammad Ali takes back the lead.
So this race has just left us guessing all night long. We kind of see him go 3 wide, 2 wide. I'm surprised we have not seen any 4 wide yet as Keith takes a dive down low. But Jake Dick jumps right in front of him and says, nope, that is my spot. I want that lead right back.
Yeah, Jake Dick really solidly on the inside there. Now back to the top, clears Muhammad Ali. And I'll tell you, these are really the 3 guys that have not gone away all day. There's been some comers, there's been some goers. Jake Cummings at one point was up there at the front. Now he slipped back to the back half of the top 10. Same can be said for Wyatt Burton. Dylan Beatty was leading early in this race, I think before a wreck. But now you have some pretty consistent contenders with the 22, the 12, the 29. Adam Willoughby also not going away from this fight. He actually just took the 3rd spot from Calic as the St. Clair car slipping back just a little bit with Ben Fiore is in the 6th spot. I think our timing tower might be messed up a little bit. I'm seeing the red car just ahead of the white car of Grant Schiller, but we'll have to see about that. As no, that is Lucas Moody. Sorry, just behind Ben Fiore. We're looking now at Grant Schiller as... No, we're looking at Keegan Gallick. I'm confused, y'all. There's too many cars that look the exact same. Adam Willoughby moves to the inside. A little bit more of a defensive move there, but yes, the field's starting to get strung out. The strategies starting to kind of show themselves right. This is where you get your dividends for setting yourself up early in the run.
As we kind of see Jake Dick take another look at that inside and take away that first place, leaving Muhammad Ali back in a second with Adam Willoughby right on his bumper. But no, Keegan Calic trying to make that move down the inside, but he does not. Adam Willoughby defends that 3rd place spot, and we could go for another lap. With other move is being made. He kind of pokes towards the inside. Will he take it? It's not. Adam Willoughby stays in the 3rd. Maybe kind of putting a little bit of distance. Maybe thinking, maybe I can make these tires last. Maybe I can get the fuel just to go a little bit longer and make these 2 keep fighting until their tires fall off. Maybe it's a good strategy. Maybe it's not. Well, only time will tell as Jake Dick continues to defend. And oh, Adam Willoughby to the inside. Kind of backs off again. That is Keegan Calic moving towards the outside to take back that 3rd position as Adam Willoughby stays on that inside going into turn 1 and back behind.
Yeah, these moves have to be really well done, especially when you're holding that inside line. You're cutting off a lot more momentum versus someone who may be trying to hold it around the outside. And as we may see here, Jacob Dick down the inside. Muhammad Ali. Oh, is someone who sideways?
That is Keegan Calic.
Keegan Calic was running really well, and I think he just used a little bit too much wheel. I don't see any front-end damage on that 29 car. If he managed to keep it out of the wall, that would have been a whale of a save. Shades of Kyle Busch in the 2012 Clash, if anybody knows that race. But we're going to see the 29 here, I think just puts a little bit too much wheel on corner entry. This is the penalty that you pay on old tires. Oh, actually gets below the yellow line. And no contact, no damage. That is Keegan Calic from St. Clair College, everybody. He's lost a ton of track position, but he has not lost a front wing. He has not lost his car. I mean, he had a pretty good run to the inside of Muhammad Ali, and the car controlled the downshifts all the way down into 2nd gear. 10 out of 10. I cannot believe it. And we're not supposed to be biased up here in the booth, but Keegan Calic is one of my favorite drivers. We've missed it. Adam Willoughby, the alumni from Clemson, has taken the lead, swept by as the 12 and the 22, I believe, have pitted. Yes, those cars are on pit road. Keegan Calic is in as well. Makes sense as he's burnt the rubber off those Firestones. But now Willoughby trying to hold off Ben Fiore. A little bit of serpentine on the front straightaway. They've got the a lap car there, I believe, involved in this one. And then the white car behind that is Grant Schiller. Ben Fiore looking to lead, still looking for his first career win in the Formula College World Championship. I've picked him to win tonight, and I think he's going to do it, as diving way to the inside is Adam Willoughby. Fiore, the run on the outside, and it's going to be the 555 trying for the lead into turn 1.
Yeah, as we see behind, there's 3 wide. But yeah, Ben Fiore, what a drive forward, and yeah, this race has just been absolutely insane with the amount of lead changes we've had, and now strategy. Now we are under. Some people had to dive into pits under green flag, and Keegan Calick has gone a lap down after that amazing save. Actually, I just got word that he just pitted, and yeah, once again, what a save by him, and Dylan Beatty is also trying to stay on the lead lap.
But you kind of saw it earlier. We haven't seen too much green flag pit stop as R. Muhammad Alif and that number 12 car, I think, are the main top two making that green flag pit stop. We kind of see that strategy coming in, that 34 to 36 lap spent on fuel, which I believe they were pushing it. I think they were pushing 37 to 38 laps on that fuel. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Mr. Cade. But as we kind of see Adam Willoughby lose that second spot.
Oh, and coming down to Wyatt Burton, there's a huge wreck. 3 cars are airborne. Wyatt Burton turns into a carnival ride, and right in the middle of the pit cycle, the caution is out. That was Lucas Moody, I think, and several others destroyed. We're taking a look. That is Lucas Moody right behind Adam Willoughby. Willoughby got really high in the corner. That car looked sketchy. Wyatt Burton smelled opportunity, dove it in there, and just massive contact. That was Cale Davidson that was thrown into the outside wall. And I am speechless at what happens to the 26 right there. We're going to ride along with him. Everybody hold your breath. Take your Dramamine, because this one is a wild ride.
Tapped into him, and he has liftoff. He has achieved the NASA record of the highest flight today. Still tumbling into the ground. We kind of see the car go, but he ends up on his side, and that's going to be a tow back. If he has not used his flash repair, he is now. That car is toast. As we kind of see a car lock up, trying to avoid that wreck with Edwin Onofre.
That was Grant Schiller doing the initial D on pit entrance. Look at that. Huge wrecks all around. Yeah, Schiller able to avoid the wreck, get that car locked down. Definitely going to need a tire change. As everybody going to come into the pits here with just 33 laps to go, you will be easily good to the end. It's Willoughby, Kampfer, and the entire rest of the field. Everybody who had already pitted, which includes Dylan Beatty and the rest of the Ball State cars, they are going to stay on the lead lap. They're going to be able to cycle to the front here, so the advantage goes to BSU. The rest of these guys are going to find themselves in a little bit of traffic. So we'll see how this one shakes out. Adam Willoughby, the first one in. We'll see if he can be the first one off.
Yeah, with all this pitting and cautions and everyone kind of being a group together, lap cars are actually involved in these big packs. It's not like in road course racing where you have to let the car by. They could stay in the fight as long as they do not ruin anything, if I am not mistaken. Wesley, you may have to double check me on that one, but yeah, that's what makes things really interesting. It could be top 5, and then there's a lap car that's in there, and just being involved in the race.
And kind of going off of this wreck, we saw out of turn 3, you heard me say it before, I believe it is a little bit of that throttle input coming off of 6 degrees of banking coming out of Bid Bend. It really just did that car in. A little bit of wash up meant it was over for some cars, a lot of towing back. But that was one heck of a wreck that left this entire boots and has completely rocked around the pole. As we kind of see a lot of shifts around the cars. Like Mr. Cade said, looks like the Ball State cars are going to take a victory on this pit cycle. We kind of see them shift back into the front. Looks like that pit strategy did pay off for them quite well. So hats off to them for the amount of math and thinking they brought onto that one behind that wheel. We have some masterminds tonight.
I will say it was a little bit of a victory, but at what cost? We saw Lucas Moody and Cale Davidson involved in that last wreck, so Two of the BSU cars that have already used up their fast repairs not going to be able to finish this one out. And the way that the pit cycle came out, I'm not actually sure if Ball State has cycled to the front. I'm seeing Kampfer, Willoughby, and then a Leaf. So right now I've got Josh Kampfer from KSU as the race leader. As we are flashing through pit road, there's Dylan Beatty. Oh, trying to get slowed down to miss the wreck, and the 20 car pounds the inside wall and absolutely destroys it. That's why Schiller was so hard on the brakes. Schiller thought that he was going to have an opportunity to I'm not really sure about that one. It looked to me like Beatty was committed to the pits. When the yellow came out, pit road closed, and he tried to avoid a penalty, and in the process sacrificed his entire car. You can see Schiller, and I think that's Ben Fiore just in front of him. I mean, Schiller's got to lock it down completely to avoid nailing the 20, so that's day done for another Ball State cars, which completely threw off their strategy. Now, Josh Kampfer, the 172, I think I've been saying he's from Kansas. I should probably check my notes before I go saying things. Yes, he is from KSU, the alumni and rookie, competing in the CIL for the first time after he's graduated college. We're happy to have him in that purple machine, but he's at the front of the field, and he will lead us to green with just over 30 laps to go. So a shot for the upset here with Adam Willoughby behind him. Willoughby, another guy who has yet to win a CIL race. Just behind Willoughby, you've got a long line of cars that are all very, very hungry. A Leaf looking for his first oval win. Brennan Lyman looking for his first win. How about Nick Stockner winning on his birthday? A lot of good storylines here. Kampfer's going to hit the restart zone, use the right pedal, and we are away. 31 to go in Long Pond.
And once again, we are all in a straight line. But I bet you the time we get into turn 2, we are already going to be fighting, if not even sooner, as Adam Willoughby is looking down the inside, wanting to take the lead. But here we go. Nick Stockner's down the inside.
All the way to the bottom. That was a really gutsy move. Sorry, Jonathan. Nick sent it to the bottom, clears his Clemson teammate on corner exit. Stockner goes to the lead for the third oval race in a row. He's only running ovals this season, and he's showing why. He's got the front here, trying to break the draft. That snake down the front straightaway. Willoughby going to get to the outside. Kampfer has the opportunity to go 3, but he is going to sit in line behind the 022. It's the Unks at the front of the field, all triple digits. Means that they all have a lot of experience, shall we say. Willoughby crossing Stockner back over. Looking to the middle is Kampfer. Got really close right there, but it's Clemson 1-2 as they head through the tunnel turn.
And Nick to the inside again, taking back that first position, leaving his teammate Adam Willoughby to dive back on that inside, thinking maybe he can make that move coming out of turn 3, but no. Nick Stockner holds 1, Adam Willoughby 2, Josh Kampfer 3rd, R. Muhammad Alif, Dick.
Muhammad Alif was actually looking to stick his nose down there in turn number 1, but thought better of it. As we are still having a great battle between Adam Willoughby, Nick Stockner with an amazing move to get to the lead. Josh Kampfer as well is holding on too, as he came from 12th on the grid, and he is fighting now for the lead. And also someone else, Brendan Lyman, is back up here, and he's looking around the outside of our Muhammad Ali. But also someone to also look out for, Jacob Dick, as he is going to go around the outside of our Muhammad Ali for this P5 position. And I think we may be looking for another change of position for the lead.
Yeah, Josh Kampfer drove it down to the inside and was able to get it on Nick Stockner. Stockner certainly not going to go away. He drops to the bottom after getting a nice slingshot down the straight. Our Muhammad Ali has a view of it all as he gets a car to his inside. That is Jake Dick, the fellow driver from BSU. 22 through to the 4th spot. Stockner goes back to the lead down into turn number, I believe this is 3. You're going to see it's honestly a really long corner. You feel like you're in the corner forever, and you've got to maximize your momentum. There is Jake Dick to the inside of Willoughby. Going to get a draft on Camphor as Camphor makes a move for the lead. And look at the big run there. The 022 had to back off a little bit to avoid from getting into the rear end of the 124. Jacob Dick slides up the track, able to keep that thing out of the wall, trying to maintain some momentum down the back straightaway. Now he has our Muhammad Ali fall over him. And folks, this is how quickly it happens. You've got to have fantastic reflexes. You're really reacting to things before they happen. You see Willoughby moves to the top before Jacob Dick has even committed to that lane. So Dick crosses him over to the bottom, gets the draft from the 172, tries to work that car on the inside, but the momentum is going to carry Willoughby and maintain the third spot for the Clemson driver.
Another move being made up high as we drift towards the back with our Muhammad Ali maybe making a little bit of a mood in fourth place, but no, it is Nick Stockner still first. Will be maybe making a dive down the inside, leaving Stockner a little bit stunned there. Just the amount of move going into turn 2, that 9 degrees of banking makes one heck of a change as you kind of see that gap start to rise a little bit. The Camper starting to reel him back in. Muhammad Ali sitting number 4.
Yeah, as we saw further back in the pack, they are getting rowdy. There's a big gaggle of them. As you can see, they are 2 by 2. Same thing with the leaders of Adam Willoughby and Nick Stockner. Adam Willoughby is back into the lead, but if you look a little bit further ahead, they are starting to catch up on some loud traffic, and we're going to see if that plays any role into this lead change.
Yeah, that is Alex Finity, driver from UNC Charlotte, already been involved in an incident or two today. I do want to personally apologize to Cheryl Burton. Yes, the gymnastics were not what we wanted to see from the driver of the 26 from Trine, but as it stands, he is in the free pass position. First car 1 lap down. If a caution comes out, Burton would get back on the lead lap and get an opportunity to make up some more spots. So that's another battle we're keeping an eye on. If Finity gets lapped, that position would then go to the driver of the 321, Logan McKim, in the fight for that as well. So there's kind of 2 fights going on right now. This one right here is for the second spot. Our Muhammad Ali to the inside of Nick Stockner, just behind them. That's Camphor and Dick side by side, nearly into the wall for Brennan Lyman in the 6th spot. But Stockner hangs on to P2 as now Alif under fire from Camphor, and I think for the moment the KSU driver has that spot.
Yeah, and once again, just you never know what's going to happen into these, even like corner by corner, lap by lap. There's just constant battling going on, which I think is very, very cool to see. There's not like just a solidified winner, and once again, since it's not a NASCAR or a Cup car, they can't bump trap, so it's not like we're seeing these 2 lanes forming, they're just pushing each other the whole way. Nah, they are constantly battling back and forth as Nick Stockner goes back into the lead, but we're going to see if Adam Willoughby gets a crossover. No, he does not. But further back as well for 5th position with Brennan Lyman and Jacob Dick, it is getting really close as they are starting to catch up to the front 2.
So you kind of see the 2 Clemson cars start switching back and forth for this 1-2 spot, trying to think who wants to be in first, who wants to be in second. We see them going on the inside, outside, moving for that first position as Nick Stockner goes back down the inside for that first position car. Josh Camper may be wondering, man, these cars are fighting a lot. Maybe I should just kind of sit back and watch and see who wrecks one another.
The other strategy you've got to think about here is maybe there's a little bit of teamwork going on. Yeah, they're both Clemson cars, but even just the 2 cars at the front of the field wanting to work together, you know that the guy behind is going to get a big run. And so if you can allow that car to take the momentum to the bottom without having to lift, then the second car can get pulled along by that run right here. We'll see it down the straightaway. And now Nick can take the run of his own, move that to the bottom. He's going to clear Willoughby, and now Willoughby is going to be able to get the draft and gain some of the momentum that Stockner has. I don't know if this is so much a fight as it is a game. You know, these 2 guys, if they can maintain 1 and 2 for the next 18 or so laps, that'll give them a couple laps to fight it out amongst themselves. They've shuffled out the Ball State drivers, which I think is their plan, and oh my gosh, contact a little bit farther back. No yellow, but there was certainly some scrambling to avoid a wreck there, as everybody is somehow able to get through cleanly. I think there were a couple of lap cars that were involved in that one. And for the moment, we'll shake it out. We'll see if we can't get a replay of that for you. Back up front, still Stockner and Willoughby running 1-2. Brennan Lyman has now stuck into the third spot ahead of Josh Kampfer. And I don't know if he is going to want to play this game. He is not from Clemson. He is not part of that group. And he wants this one for himself and OPSU. 19 laps to go. And the top three, really the top 7, are still looking for their first career CIL win.
And Andrew Voigt, like, he was at the beginning of the race. He had that very bad incident and had to come in, and now he is in the top 5. So a really good recovery drive. And I know after that wreck, he really wants to show that he should be fighting in the front, and that is exactly what he's been getting back to. And I think he's starting to prove that right now.
And kind of speaking on another one of those recovery drives, you kind of see Keegan Kallick back in the top 5 after his graceful spin as he kind of recovered barely from not touching that wall. He is now top 5, but these top two Clemson cars are just fighting neck and neck, making these little runs together. We kind of see Josh Kampfer and Brennan Lyman start thinking maybe we can make a little bit of a move if we try and work a little together. But Keegan Kallick is going to stick up high and disrupt any team planning that's going on there between the two different universities. And we see it go 3 wide, third position. Fourth, I'm sorry. That is Brennan Lyman moving up top, maybe to take that second spot away, disrupt a little bit of team communications as he get it around the outside of turn 3, almost touching that wall, and he does take that second spot away from Adam Willoughby.
Yeah, he does that. He breaks up that game. Sorry, Jonathan. Kampfer dove all the way to the bottom. Was going to say Lyman had the opportunity to break up the Clemson 1-2. Didn't quite get it done. Kampfer shot it to the bottom. He can't get around Willoughby either. The little bit of the wall of claw, if you will, here for those Clemson Tigers putting on a display. But yeah, before I cut you off there, Jonathan, Kampfer put himself in a really sketchy situation.
Yeah, like you say, it was a very sketchy situation, as we still see a lot of battling going on, especially between that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position, as we are on board with Brennan Lyman. A very good perspective of what the driver may be seeing during the races. He looks around the outside. He's trying to carry that momentum nice and smooth, as you could see 211, 213, 215 miles an hour going down into turn number 2. He's getting right back into the draft, trying to figure out which way to go. Does he want to go left, right? He goes back to the outside as they are 3 wide. And I think that is Keegan Kallick, who's moved up into 4th, as Brennan Lyman is still trying to figure out a way to get into first position.
Running that outside lane, though, being flat out. I think the bottom, the shorter way around, is just going to be faster. Not a lot of off-throttle time here. He's going to get a big run, though. What does he do with it? Backs out just a little bit. Lyman also sitting in the 6th gear right now. I've seen everybody else just about running fit. That's going to open up the bottom. Jump scare from Josh Kampfer. Good run for Lyman. He's going to hang on to the 3rd spot and his car, but that one got really sketchy on corner exit. Kampfer had a move, not quite able to get it done. Keegan Kallick poking his nose into the battle as well. Now Kampfer is clear to the 3rd spot. Look at the run for the 172. Wanted to take it to the outside of Willoughby, and just not quite a car width there.
As we are still
and Lyman start fading away. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Sorry for cutting you off as we go 3 wide again, and the kind of go into turn 1. But that is one heck of a move. I guess coming out of turn 3, he kind of didn't have as much throttle input, kind of throwing him back a little bit as he's now behind Kallick. See if we can make a run. Maybe Josh Kampfer maybe making some sort of a move here on Adam Willoughby. Does he make it, Jonathan? I don't think so yet.
Maybe not now, but he definitely will eventually, as we see a very, very defensive mood from Nick Stockner as we are going down the back straight. Actually got a little bit of gap coming off that final corner. But Adam Willoughby with that draft is just going to get sucked right back in. And Josh Camphor as well, just along for the ride. As guess who is back? Our Muhammad Alif is back, and he is ready to fight in that top for that top position. Same thing with Andrew Voigt and Keegan Kallick.
Will the push and persevere? Is the wall of claw going to benefit here and take that 1-2, or will Muhammad Ali bring home that first oval win of the season? He's kind of been making moves all season long. He's my first pick for the third race in a row. Looks like that those Clemson cars are still gonna hold 1-2.
And now you just have 12 laps to go. The nerves really starting to set in, especially if you're one of these two drivers at the front of the field. Both of them have been trying for a very long time, and maybe none longer than Nick Stockner. I believe he holds the record for the most CIL starts across all series without a victory. Right now under fire from R. Muhammad Alif. Gave up the lead momentarily to Willoughby. Got a good run down the straightaway. Blocks the run of the 12. And now fires it off to the inside as the top 5 all sort of coalesce there for a second. Give the lead back to Stockner as now the run goes to Willoughby. Does Alif have enough to go 3? Yes, he does. He puts it in the middle with 11 laps to go. From 3rd to 1st, R. Muhammad Alif storms through, capitalizes on the run, and the 12 car goes to the lead.
Yeah, what a move.
Into the wall goes Kallick. That was Camphor getting high on corner exit. Lyman getting bounced around. They keep it straight. Voigt had a look to go 4 wide, and he does. And that's going to take Andrew Voigt up to the 4th spot, maybe, but he loses it in the middle of the corner, holds up. The 78, Ben Fiore, sneaks by on the bottom, and that allows the top 3 to sneak away. It's Alif, Willoughby, and Stockner with just 10 to go now at the line.
Yeah, it is getting rowdy here with 10 to go, and I bet you this is where the top 4, as of right now, are starting to maybe think of like, okay, when can I make the move? When should I make the move? Because right now they are going to start practicing what it's like going to be in the last 5-ish laps to go, and especially with leading with R. Muhammad Alif, he's probably thinking, okay, if I'm in this position, how can I defend? What do I have to do to make sure I have that gap so they can't get me at the very end? And that's just what I would be thinking if I was in this position, is how is this going to turn out at the end?
I think we are seeing a little bit of the lost grip from tire wear. It's not so much that your lap time goes down, but you lose maneuverability. You lose the ability to stay in the throttle even when you're in the draft. We saw how hard Nick fought to keep the lead. We saw how hard he was pushing. And now that he's back in dirty air and he's got Camphor all over him, it's going to be really hard for that 24 to put the power down as hard as he's been pushing those tires. He's going to give up the 3rd spot to Camphor. Now Camphor wants 2nd as Andrew Voigt works himself into this battle. The PSU driver started this race all the way from the rear after the incident that happened a couple of weeks ago, but he is now up to the 5th spot. Brennan Lyman is not out of this one. He now takes 5th. Fiore not out of this one. Onofre is still inside the top 10. Plenty of players with 8 to go. Camphor is the one in the purple car trying the outside lane. Still clear of Stockner. Stockner drinks up in front of Lyman. Lyman throws it to the bottom, gets a draft off of Willoughby, and the 78 car was 6th a couple laps ago. Now he is looking to break into podium position.
The battle is really heating on right now as Nick Stockner, like you said at the beginning, he was fighting really hard, very, very hard. And now you can kind of see what that is doing with his tires as he is slowly falling back. Granted, there's still 7 laps to go. It is racing. A lot can happen, especially when you're drafting. A lot can happen, and they make a little bit of contact as the Penn State driver goes into the wall.
Yeah, a lot can happen, and a lot just did happen right there if you're Andrew Voigt. Luckily, nobody else involved, no major contact, but a pretty sizable hit to the outside wall. And while all that was happening, Brennan Lyman snuck through. The Aggie on the outside had the lead for a moment. He's going to have to give it back to Camphor, but he's dispatched Alif. He gets a big run down the front straightaway. and kind of just decides to sit there with it. That allows that whole top group to kind of accordion together. Willoughby peaked to the bottom. A Leaf got stuck on the outside. Now once again Lyman tries the top. Less than 6 to go. I think he's really experimenting, seeing how big of a run he can get. Right here, he had another chance to maybe take that one to the bottom, but backed out of it a little bit. Gives the momentum to a Leaf, who throws it down to the bottom of the tunnel turn. Almost got to the left rear of Camphor, not quite. Now he's doing battle with Willoughby for third.
Almost a little bit of contact coming in with Adam Willoughby, See a bunch of these Clemson cars fighting all race. You kind of see those tires start coming into effect, like Mr. Jonathan was saying. It looks like a Leaf may just have as fresh of a tire as you can get, as he is making these moves like they are nothing, trying to chase after those top two, maybe get his first oval win. He's been looking for it all season. He's been looking wins this past season. We saw him win at Spa. Just barely get ripped away last week at Michigan. So he is still out for blood for that first win here. As we see Lyman leading. Adam Willoughby is into second.
Willoughby through to the second spot, but he's going to have to contend with Camphor. Both of them get a run on the 78. Lyman fades low just a little bit, plays a block. Stockner to the inside once again, 3 wide for the lead. It's the same move that he got it last time, but it looked like it just didn't want to stick right there. Car didn't look super comfortable on corner exit, lost some momentum. Camphor still has the lead with Lyman up his gearbox. Muhammad Alif still in the top 5. He's in position to pounce like we've said. Grant Schiller is the white car there. Calic is on pit road with a little bit of damage. So the 29 out of the race. Schiller, the last driver for St. Clair, left in this fight. Clemson still has 2. Not anymore as Willoughby gets into Camphor. The caution is out. And that is going to end the race with 3 laps to go. We should not have enough time to get this one going. And the leader at the time of caution was Nick Stockner. The driver of the 124 is going to get it done on his birthday. Nick Stockner is going to victory lane in the Formula College World Championship as a massive wreck with 3 laps to go. Willoughby into Camphor. It's Stockner P1, Brennan Lyman P2, Muhammad Alif on the bottom rung of the podium. But it is the best birthday present you could ask for if you're Nick Stockner. And we'll just have to wait to see if the race is official, but as the O22 gets launched airborne, I think it is race done here in the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250.
What a race this has been, and like you said, Cade, this is Nick Stockner's first race win, if that is correct.
That is correct.
What an opportunity, and especially on his birthday for him to win, and what a drive by him. He was being really smart the whole entire race and got himself at the right place at the right time. And happy birthday to you, Nick. And same thing with Brendan Lyman. Really good drive, especially coming from 13th on the grid. What an insane end to this race.
And it looks like the lights on the safety truck are going to stay on, which means, yes, this race will be over. And we just have to pace it out here. That's Wyatt Burton taking the free pass. So he's going to be able to get on the lead lap and cycle ahead of the cars that were involved in that wreck. But if the lights on the safety truck go off next time by, we'll still have 1 lap under yellow, so this one should be over. Really, we'll just have to wait and see. Take you through a little bit of the preliminary finishing order. Of course, Stockner, Lyman, Alif top 3. Ben Fiore in a one-off, being scored in the 4th position. Grant Schiller, first career top 5 for the St. Clair driver. Jake Dick had a great run. He'll be P6. Edwin and Ofray P7. Adam Willoughby P8. Andrew Voigt hung on to that car after it wrecked. He's in the 9th spot. Alex Finity held on to the lead lap. He'll be 10th. Keegan Calick 11th, Wyatt Burton 12th. And that rounds out your lead lap cars. Josh Kampfer is going to wind up, it looks like, 15th after that wreck. So, again, we are still waiting to see a little bit if this is race official. But if the safety truck doesn't pull off this time, and I don't think it's going to, then Stockner is just going to have to pace for one more lap to get himself a CIL victory. And it looks like it will come true here at Pocono. I know he wanted to get it done at Vegas. He really wanted that one. Came so close at Iowa a couple of years ago. But under yellow, it's one lap to go, presented by the Longland Corporation Napa. For all your car, truck, and SUV needs, if you were involved in that last wreck, you need the Napa know-how. Go to NapaOline.com, store number 28128, and get the Napa know-how. Nick Stockner knows how to get it done. 3 more corners under yellow, and it will be his race. And, I mean, the great story there in the second spot, Brennan Lyman, making a bid for Rookie of the Year this season. So this is going to be really huge for him in the points. It's going to sting coming up so close. But you got to imagine, in the race, he's the one who brought this Longland sponsor in. He's the one who's been so bullish on the CIL here, really invested a lot of time into the league. Our Muhammad Alif, man, comes so close once again. And how about Ben Fiore goes from the booth to the one-off to get 4th. We made an opportunity to talk to him as well. He'll be 2nd in the alumni classification, so likely not for Fiore, but still a very good run in what could be one of his only FC starts of the season, retired at the end of last year. And then, like we said, Grant Schiller, top 5, first career top 5 for that driver from St. Clair. So just one more lap to go. Gonna lead him through turn number 3. No turn 4, and Stockner's glad for that because it means getting to the stripe as soon as possible. He is going to take that line, and I can guarantee you we are going to see some fantastic burnouts. Even though it's under caution, Nick Stockner is going to cross the line in first. He takes the checkered flag in the Backwoods Bash 250 presented by the Longland Corporation. Nick Stockner is a CIL race winner, and you can tell by the way that he's failing to drive in a straight line that he is excited about this one, but it's going to be a celebration well-deserved. The clock has run out, the streak has ended, and Stockner can say that he has won a race. And it's going to be a proud moment for Powell Valley, everybody in Virginia. It is going to be a bad night to be a beer in the Nick Stockner household. I do got to say, you do have to be at least 21 to drink. Please drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Although I can't imagine that Nick Stockner is going to be going much of anywhere after he celebrates this one. Like we said, it has been an absolute grind of a career for Stockner. He's come so close so many times, led so many laps between the Cup Series, the FC Series, been a long-time admin, a long-time guy who's run a lot of races in all of our series, Summer Series, Sports Car Series, everything that you can do in the CIL, Nick Stockner has had a hand in, and he has finally been able to get it done. Right down here, down the straightaway, just past the longest John, and he is going to do it and burn it down at Pocono. Doing donuts for the first time in his career, you can tell that is one happy man. While Nick burns it down, we are going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We get lined up, and when we come back, we will get to talk to the man himself, as well as Lyman and Elise. So stick with us. We'll be right back here from the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250, presented by Longland Corporation.
Oh my god. Okay. Boys, I got bad news. I had the mics muted that whole time. The mic was muted that whole time. Okay, alright. Nick, you're gonna have to do it again. I'm sorry. That was a rehearsal. Oh, that's my mic.
Just ask me the questions again, man. I want my interview, damn it.
No, you have you've done everything that you deserved to get this interview done. We're gonna get it in here. Congratulations once again on winning the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250. I mean, those last couple laps, they're sitting behind the pace truck. I knew you knew that it was over. I mean, what's still, man? What is going through your mind?
We get to lap 97, and I've done this for a very long time. I've run in a lot of Indy Oval leagues. This is my passion. This car on ovals is everything I know. And once I got to 97, I knew it's on from here. A caution ends this race, and I used the last little bit of fuel I had to get to the lead, knowing that the guys behind me they lose all respect for each other when it gets down to it at the end of the day, and they started wrecking each other. And the moment I saw the caution flag and I was still ahead, I lost it. I knew it. I knew we did it. We finally did it.
So talk to me about your future in this league. Obviously, you have such a big past. You know, you've been in here for a really long time. You have a lot of results. So now talk to me about what the future holds. I know you've got a great month of October coming up, but, you know, even longer term than that, what does this do to your plans for the CIL?
I've been racing in this league since June of 2021. The best finish I ever have in my career is 4th. I've done it 3 times at this point. And then we get to now. I've been running in this league for 4 years, and I'm getting to be a little bit old for this. I started when I started running this league. I said I was gonna, you know, try to win a championship, and I'm not good enough to win a championship. And I decided we're gonna call it when I win a race, and I guess I can say it now. This is my last season competing in the CIL. I can comfortably announce my retirement. I finally did it. I won. That's all I came here. That's all I came here to do.
Well, I'm pleased to tell you that you are a race winner in the Collegiate iRacing League. If you're going to go out, it will be on the highest of notes. I got to let you go for tonight, but before I go, I want you to give me the complete list of who you would like to thank.
I want to thank Adam Willoughby, first of all, for being such a great teammate and such a great flanker all night long. Me and him worked incredibly together. If you allow me to get emotional for a second, I want to thank all of the guys at Orangeville Racing, Drew, Ryan, Clint, Kaylor, Ricky, Toomey. There's a lot of guys on this team. Kaylor, Christian, Finnerty, Burl. Can't forget Burl. Nordberg. Those guys, they never gave up on me. They never gave up on the reality that Nick Stockner could win a race. And I'm so thankful for their friendship. Everybody's coming to my house, and in a week and a half, we're going to go watch Petit Le Mans. I'm so excited. Now that this is on top of it, the champagne celebrations the night before are going to be even more spectacular. I got to thank my mom, Nina, my grandmother, Mariah, and I want to dedicate this win to my granddad, Ball. He has watched every race that I've competed in this league, now 196 of them, and he's watched me crash a lot. And he says he got into a wreck, but he didn't get hurt. And I won. I finally won. And then all the guys that make the car go fast, Zynick, Dyken, Milliken, Loza Harrisonburg, How Transport Incorporated, Opseat, Polartech, Westex, Whitehead Die Casting, all the guys who come on this car every week and make it go fast. And I want to thank the CIL. They gave me a place to kind of become my own person. They gave me a place to race, and I'm forever grateful. I'm forever grateful for this opportunity. This has been the achievement of a lifetime for me, and I did it. I did it.
You, in fact, did it, and you will forever be able to say that you did it. So once again, congratulations. Go celebrate. Go have a great night. And if we get the opportunity, hopefully we'll get to interview you one more time before your career is up. So congratulations, and go. Don't ever let this one get old. All right. Don't let anybody tell you to stop talking about this one.
Not planning on it. Not planning on it.
And that was Nick Stockner, winner of the race. We're now going to bring in Brennan Lyman, the driver who finished P2, a career day for him as well. He is standing by with Jonathan Nicasio.
Yeah, congratulations, Brennan, on your first CIL Formula College podium. You came pretty far back from the grid, and you made your way to a P2 finish. Kind of explain that the comeback to finish P2.
Mainly just fuel saving, guys. Was just trying to be smart about fuel saving, trying to pick my battles wisely. Once we got to that last run, I fuel saved for quite a good bit, and then once we got to about, I want to say 12 to go, just went for it there on. And I know he's not in the interview right now. Happy birthday, Nick, and congrats on the win.
Yeah, and what a drive. That was so much fun to watch. Was there a specific moment in the race strategy wise where you're like, okay, now I know I can fight for the win?
Once we got to 10 to go, I kept an eye on my fuel. I just kept going back and forth and seeing, okay, I'm good on fuel. I'm just going to go for it and hope that everything works out to the best of my ability.
That is epic. And once again, amazing drive. You must be super happy with your first Formula College podium. And is there anyone you want to thank for this achievement?
Yeah. Family and friends. Dad, Kim, if you're watching this, thank you. Grandma, Grandpa, Mom, also thank you. And big thank you to OPSU for trusting me to drive this car this season and represent Oklahoma Panhandle State University to the best of my extent.
Well, congratulations once again, Brennan, for your P2 finish. And hopefully we can once again interview more, maybe next time with a number 1 next to your name.
Well, hopefully. Thank you, guys.
So those are our drivers that we have to interview. Our Muhammad Alif not available for this one, but he did cross the line in the 3rd spot. So if we get the opportunity, we would now like to take a look at our complete rundown from that race. Of course, we know that the top 3 were Stockner, Lyman, and Alif. Really career days for all of them. Ben Fiore, the great run to 4th. Grant Schiller, the great run in 5th. Jake Dick led a lot of laps, but finishes 6th for Ball State. Edwin Onofre able to kind of hang around all day and wind up in the 7th spot. Adam Willoughby for the 022 involved in that wreck, but able to limp it around to the line. He finishes 8th. Andrew Voigt from Penn State stays out of trouble to finish 9th. And Alexander Finity winds up on the lead lap to round out the top 10.
Moving back into the 11th spot, we have Keegan Kallick from St. Clair with Wyatt Burton following close behind in the Trine University machine. 13th being Mr. Logan McKim, another St. Clair machine, the start of the lap down cars. And number 14 being Jake Cummings from Converse University, also a lap down. Moving into the number 15 spot, we had Aaron Gosler from Kansas State, 2 laps down, with Josh Camphor from also Kansas State, 4 laps. Billy Vela making his debut for Kansas State, also 4 laps down and out of the race. Lucas Moody sitting 18th from Ball State. Dylan Beatty sitting 19th, Ball State, and Kel Davison rounding out our top 20.
And to finally wrap up the rest, we have the number 64, Nick Henley from Ball State University, and number 33, Riley Perkins from New England College.
So that rounds out our field and sets us up for next week, where we'll turn left and right at the Long Beach Street Circuit, as we're now 5 races deep into the season. After that, we'll get into the back half of the schedule, a few more road courses before at the end of the month we do some more oval track action at the Milwaukee Mile, and then we'll end it on an oval again in December at Kansas Speedway. So hope you stick with us for that. All those races will be broadcast live right here on the Collegiate iRacing League YouTube channel. Races will go green at about 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 p.m. for all of us here in the Central Time Zone. But if you want to get your CIL fix before then, the Cup Series will take on the Tricky Triangle on Monday. That's the YumTwo College Cup Series green flag. Same time, about 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. over on the East Coast. So before we wrap it up here, I want to start with you, Jonathan. I think you saw a pretty spectacular race for your first one up here in the booth. Was it everything that you'd hoped it would be?
Yeah, going into it, I was pretty... my expectations were pretty low, but seeing everyone race and... Sorry, expectations were high. Sorry about that. And yeah, everyone just reached that and added some more to it. It was just absolutely amazing. And yeah, it was just so much fun seeing all the battling. And it's a different side of racing that I get to see, and the ending was cool. The battles were really insane, and yeah, just super happy to witness it and share the booth with you guys. What about you, Wesley?
And my expectations have been the same as last week. I'm very disappointed that Leaf didn't win. You know, that was my kind of pick there, running for the third week. Maybe I may have to change up from there, away from Leaf, and maybe make Nick Stockner my number 1. But that was a lot of very tough racing. They were wheel-to-wheel constant. We saw the position changes for first just about as often as any other position, going 3 wide. We even went 4 wide as unexpected. Mr. Cade, how was your expectations going through?
I think, honestly, this met them and exceeded them. I was expecting a little bit more single file, a little bit training, a little bit more of a track position race, but we saw that guys were able to make moves. Guys were able to make passes. It raced a little bit more like Michigan, but at the same time, a little bit less bottom dominant and a little bit less sketchy. So really positive stuff here for the racing in that way, and I don't doubt that we will continue to see more of that. So I hope you join us for the rest of the season. Thank you for tuning in for today's coverage of the Backwoods Burnout Bash 250. Presented by the Longland Corporation. I've been Cade Corbin, joined by Jonathan Nicasio and Wesley Shaw, producer Ryan Whitlock, and everybody here at the CIO wishing you good night.